Green and purple. Seriously? Who had the deciding vote in determining the color schemes of this hideous building? USCIS? Or FBI? I wondered as I stood in front of 26 Federal Plaza in Manhattan, my new workplace. It was my first day of work at the FBI's New York field office, and I wasn't sure if I was happy or unhappy about my new career as an FBI special assistant. If this were a book, movie, or TV show, I would be a budding FBI special agent or something really badass. In that case, I would be ready to protect and defend the world as I fought menacing terrorists or a group of evil aliens trying to invade the Earth. In addition, if it were fiction, I would look like a movie star and have a really flashy educational background under my belt, such as having graduated from an Ivy League school at the top of my class. Not to mention I would be driving a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, or a Mercedes at least. Unfortunately, none of the above characteristics applied. After all, I was talking about my life, and lately, it kind of sucked. My name is Amanda Meyer. I'm a 25-year-old American with Italian, English, and a little bit of Romanian heritage. I'm an American woman in my mid-20s, but that's all I have in common with young and successful movie stars. I stand at 5 feet 4 inches, and I'm a size or 2, or maybe 3, larger than them. I don't have an Ivy League education under my belt, mostly because Harvard, Yale, Columbia, and all other such schools rejected my application. As for the car, I don't even own one. I used to drive a relatively new Toyota Camry, but I sold it. I was trying my best to convince myself I didn't need it anymore now that I moved back to my parents' home in Queens, New York. You might be wondering why you keep on seeing cats on the screen. That's okay. I like pretending to be one of them. Anyway, life is too long and harsh to live without the cats. About a month ago, I was a medical student in North Carolina. I was in my 3rd year, busy studying for exams, memorizing all the medical and surgical knowledge, and doing clinical rotations, until I got kicked out of medical school. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't a bad student. So I didn't hold high hopes of graduating at the top of my class, or someday becoming a Nobel laureate. Then again, my academic performance wasn't that bad. I was usually at around the top 50 to 60% of the class. At a place where the majority of your classmates have an IQ of 180 and up, even being a mediocre student took lots and lots of hard work. Anyway, the odds of my finishing medical school and becoming a doctor or getting some cushy job with some pharma/biotech/insurance company were pretty high. Back then, I used to picture myself in the future driving a nice car and vacationing in beautiful resorts. Generally speaking, doctors are highly regarded in today's society. Sometimes, people talked about the top-notch physicians in comparison with God. On the other hand, I was held in comparison with the Grim Reaper and the Angel of Death. And as a result, I got kicked out of medical school, saying goodbye to my life plan as a doctor. Oh, did I mention getting kicked out of medical school didn't offset my larger-than-life student loan? So, there I stood, with no degree under my belt and a huge debt up to my eyeballs. To rub salt in the wound, Justin, my now ex-fiancé, had called off our engagement. We went to the same med school. He was 2 years my senior and was already in his first year of residency training. Obviously, he had assessed the pros and cons of staying with me and concluded that staying with a woman called the Grim Reaper wasn't likely to boost his value as a surgeon. As I stood in front of the East German-style building, I felt so depressed, I almost started sobbing. Look at the bright side, Mandy. I tried to convince myself. At least I was going to have a job, and their offer wasn't bad. I would be able to make monthly payments on my student loan and make a decent living. Maybe I could even move out of my parents' townhouse in a year or so. Actually, I wasn't eager to take this job when I received the offer, but Mom and Dad insisted I should. They were not very keen on spending the rest of their lives paying off my student loan.
Miss, you've been standing here for a long time.
Frowning, the guy in a guard's uniform gave me an accusing glare. I'm sorry. I got a little bit distracted. I'm supposed to start working here today, I said, but based on his deep frown, I was positive he didn't believe me. Oh, I'm running late. I've got to go. I attempted to walk away, but he grabbed my arm.
What is the purpose of...
Good morning, Stanley.
A male voice boomed from behind us. It was a deep, smooth baritone, clear, calm, and confident. Without turning back to see him, I found myself picturing a tall guy with a certain level of sexiness.
For your information, you don't want to mess with her. Guess what? So far, she's killed 3 men just by touching them. In addition, it's her first day working as my assistant. If you convince her to leave without even starting the job, Hernandez will be so pissed.
I had a remote knowledge that the head of the FBI's New York office was named Hernandez.
Mr. Rowling!
The guard's response sounded more like a surprise than an acknowledgement. When he straightened himself, he was no longer grabbing my arm, too busy saluting Mr. Rowling.
I am awfully sorry for my rude behavior. I didn't know she was your new assistant. I'm awfully sorry, ma'am.
The guard turned to me, sweating profusely. If eyes could speak, his were saying, "Why didn't you mention you worked for him?"
Okay, so we're all cool,
said Mr. Rowling. I turned back to thank and greet him, but words failed me. Jaw drop. He was tall, athletic, and had broad shoulders. He had flawless fair skin and dark hair, styled in a conservatively messy do. His mesmerizing green eyes looked almost blue, and his cheekbones were prominent. His nose and jaw were sculpted to perfection. In a nutshell, he was drop-dead gorgeous. But that wasn't the only reason I was at a loss for words. You are the, clenching my teeth and fists, I searched for words. Though I didn't remember his name, I did recognize him, in an "I am so going to kill him if I ever lay my eyes on him again" way.
Yeah, I'm Rick Rowling. Hi, Mandy. Nice meeting you again.
He flashed his perfect set of pearly whites and extended his right hand toward me. Obviously, he didn't read my mind. I took a deep breath. I had no freaking idea why this guy was so familiar with me to call me by the nickname I'd used since kindergarten. Before today, we had met only once for just a couple of hours, and during that short period of time, he killed my future as a doctor. I took his hand, half wishing he'd drop dead on the spot. After all, he was the one who convinced the Chapel Hill Police Department and my medical school that I'm the Grim Reaper. Oh geez. I had a hunch this isn't where I'm meant to be, and it turns out I was right. My boss is a complete nightmare and the source of my almost constant suffering. Not cool when Rowling calls me the Grim Reaper too. By the way, why does he call me the Angel of Death? Let's just say I'm considering sending him to an early retirement from life, and I have the necessary weapons for it. On the next episode, I'll tell you how and why I ended up with this unfortunate moniker. Warning. Prepare to get emotional, this is gonna be a real tearjerker. Have your pocket hankies at the ready. On second thought, if you can't wait, you can check out the book from the link in the description. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.